Hi, I'm Oscarito, and this is the movie Knock Knock. A devoted family man lets two seductive strangers wait out a storm. This act of kindness becomes a trap for the man, filled with betrayal, revenge, and absolute terror.
Surprise.
Evan and Karen live a content life in California with their two children. Karen, a sculptor preparing for her most important exhibition, works alongside her husband, Evan, an architect. During breakfast, Karen's assistant, Louie, arrives with exhibition catalogs and promises to collect her main sculpture once it finishes drying. As Karen and the children prepare for their weekend beach trip, she reminds Evan that his physical therapist, Vivian, will visit the following day. Despite the children's pleas for him to join them, Evan must remain home to work on an important project. On a stormy night, Evan works late at his computer, listening to music on his vintage turntable. After a call from Karen expressing how much they miss him, he continues working on 3D-printed architectural models. A knock at the door interrupts his solitude. Two young women, Belle, blonde, and Genesis, brunette, stand outside seeking directions. They claim to have given the taxi driver an incorrect street name and are now lost. Reluctantly, Evan allows them inside to use his computer and calls an Uber, which won't arrive for 45 minutes. The women ask to dry their wet clothes, and Evan provides towels and robes while their garments tumble in the dryer. He also attempts to dry Genesis's water-damaged phone in rice and prepares tea for his unexpected guests. The women discover Evan's extensive record collection and learn he was once a DJ in his 20s. They express surprise at his age, complimenting his youthful appearance. As they discuss his marriage and family situation, the conversation becomes increasingly intimate and flirtatious. Genesis becomes physically forward, commenting on Evan's physique. The women question Evan about monogamy and express modern views on relationships that make him uncomfortable yet intrigued. When Belle selects a record, Evan demonstrates his DJ skills, blending tracks professionally. The atmosphere becomes charged as Belle dances and declares their meeting was destiny. She attempts to kiss him just as the Uber arrives. The women don't appear at the door when called. Evan finds them undressed in the bathroom, claiming this is his surprise. Despite initial protests about the waiting Uber driver, Evan succumbs to temptation when both women touch him. The driver eventually leaves, and Evan engages in a threesome with Belle and Genesis, first in the bathtub, then in his marital bed. Evan awakens alone and immediately responds to his wife's text messages, replacing his wedding ring. However, his relief is short-lived when he discovers the women are still in the house, making breakfast and treating his home as their own. When Evan demands they leave, the women laugh and refuse. During a video call with Karen, they torment him by appearing behind him through the glass door, forcing him to reposition himself to hide them from his wife's view. Evan discovers the women have vandalized Karen's sculpture with paint, prompting him to threaten police involvement. The women reveal they are underage, Belle claims to be 15, and threaten him with statutory rape charges. They dismiss his offer of money as insulting, treating him like he's soliciting prostitution. When physical therapist Vivian arrives, Genesis intercepts her, creating suspicion. Vivian, who knows and loves Karen, leaves convinced something inappropriate is occurring. Evan's frustration boils over as he physically confronts the women, grabbing Genesis by the throat. Belle threatens him with a statue while Genesis continues her psychological manipulation. Eventually, Evan drives the women to another suburb, believing he's finally rid of them. He returns home and frantically cleans the house and attempts to restore Karen's damaged sculpture. Taking medication to calm himself, he resumes work, thinking his ordeal is over. That evening, Evan hears glass breaking. Investigating, he finds a family photograph smashed on the floor. As he bends to retrieve it, Genesis strikes him unconscious with one of Karen's sculptures. Evan wakes up tied to his bed while Genesis is putting on makeup. Suddenly, Bell appears dressed in clothes that belong to his daughter, which sends Evan into a furious rage. She begins provoking him, bringing up her own troubled childhood and issues with her father. At that moment, Karen calls through a video chat. The women threaten to answer in his place, using the situation as blackmail. To avoid humiliation, Evan is forced to give in to their demands. Belle makes him follow her instructions while Genesis records everything on camera. Evan manages to break free for a moment, but Genesis stabs him in the shoulder with a fork and twists it to immobilize him. The women tie him up again and launch into a bizarre game show-style torment, blasting loud music from his turntable whenever he refuses to participate. Louis arrives to collect the sculpture, and the women hide Evan while Genesis pretends he's her uncle filming a music video. When Louis sees the vandalized artwork, he doesn't believe their story about a break-in. Louis discovers and begins freeing Evan, but when the women start destroying more sculptures, he confronts them. During the struggle, they steal his asthma inhaler and toss it around mockingly. Louis suffers a severe asthma attack, loses his balance, and fatally strikes his head on the sculpture's base. The women show no remorse, with Genesis blaming Karen's lousy sculpture for Louis's death. They wrap his body like a sculpture, send threatening texts from Evan's phone to Louis's contacts, and dispose of the body in Louis's van. Resuming their game show charade, the women psychologically torment Evan further. Genesis calls his family victims of his perverted behavior, while Belle spits on family photos. Realizing they intend to kill him, Evan pleads for his life but accepts no responsibility for his actions, blaming the women for seducing him. The women dig a grave in the backyard while continuing to destroy Karen's artwork and give Evan a humiliating bowl cut. They force him to play hide-and-seek with his life at stake, giving him 30 seconds to hide in the house with the promise they'll leave if they don't find him by sunrise. Evan arms himself with a kitchen knife but is quickly caught when he attempts to flee the house. At dawn, the women bury him up to his neck in the prepared grave. When Genesis calls Karen's voicemail, Evan screams for help, but she hangs up upon hearing the recording. The women reveal their true nature. They're not underage and never intended to kill him. This was all an elaborate psychological game they've played with multiple men. Before leaving, Belle posts their recorded sexual encounter on Facebook, leaving the phone where Evan can see it but can't reach it. Evan desperately tries to delete the video but accidentally hits like, increasing its visibility. When his family returns the next day, they discover the destroyed house and the devastating consequences of Evan's moment of weakness. This is where the movie ends.